Okay, today we're starting with module 1.2. We're still looking at systems technologies and we're looking at software. So with module 1.1, we introduced the term software and hardware. And in module 1.2, we're looking at software in a lot more detail. And then in module 1.3, we'll look at hardware in a lot more detail. So let's remember, what is software? Instructions that get your computer to do something useful. Said, think about all those apps that you download on your cell phone. Those are software applications. There's two main categories or types of software, and that would be application software and system software. System software is software that you as the user don't really play around with. That's the operating system, maybe a debugger, assembler, file management tools, utilities, compilers. You don't play around with these apps. Application software is the kind of things where you play around with. So word processing, Google Doc, Google Sheets, or Excel spreadsheet, communication, so Gmail or some kind of email program, graphics, maybe you've got some kind of photo editing app, databases we'll look at more in detail in grade 11, and games. So application software, a group of programs that perform specific tasks for us as users. So gaming software, word processing software, photo editing software. These kind of things, we interact with them all the time. System software, software that is intended to control, support, or operate the computer. Remember, the computer can be a cell phone. Examples: the operating system, Android, iOS, Windows, whatever one you use. Utility software, so some kind of antivirus software that you've installed to protect your device. Compression software to make files smaller, something like WinZip. The operating system, it is system software that controls all activities that take place in the computer. Every computer needs an operating system in order to be able to function. When we boot the computer, so we start the computer, we switch the on button, the operating system is the first thing that loads. Examples of well-known operating systems. We've got desktop operating systems. So Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Linux, Mint, Mac OS Mojave. I think there's a couple of extra later ones, but I haven't updated these notes for a few years. You just need to know one example of an operating system for desktop. Mobile operating systems, we've got Android 10, Android Oreo, Apple is iOS plus whatever the version number is. How do you know if your phone is Android or Apple? Well, Apple is only for iPhones, so iOS will only work on iPhones. Android devices are your Samsung, your Huawei. It's pronounced Huawei, not Hawaii. Let's learn that now. Huawei, LG, HTC, Xiaomi, OnePlus, Sony, BlackBerry, Motorola, Nexus. Pretty much any other phone is going to be Android except for iPhones, which are iOS. So I've got here some of the top 10 smartphone companies. So first half of 2020, Samsung was shipping the most units. So they were shipping 72 million in 2019. That dropped to 59 million. Now, that is quite a substantial drop, but you must remember during the first quarter, we're dealing with COVID. And so that would have had a big effect on sales. Borders shutting down, airplanes stopping from flying, so products not able to be shipped around the world. So, but they're still top. Samsung, Huawei, they have overtaken Apple in the last few years. Apple always used to be second, and Huawei is now sitting at 49 million units, Apple at 40. One also must bear in mind when cell phones are released. So often with Apple, their new phones are released in the fourth quarter or towards the end of the third quarter or the fourth quarter of a year. And so in the first quarter, they might not be selling as many, whereas Samsung releases their new devices in the first quarter of the year. Xiaomi 29.7 million, Oppo 22.3, Vivo 21.6, going all the way down. So we also show you the market share. So 20% of all phones sold are Samsung's, 17% are Huawei, 14% are Apple. Xiaomi is now up to 10%. They are fantastic value for money. You can get them off Takealot, and they're really starting to edge in on Apple and Huawei. So brands you might not know of, you might not be aware of: Xiaomi, ZTE, Oppo, Honor, OnePlus. It's good to know some of this sort of stuff. This is something that I find quite interesting and spend a lot of time looking at. So if you ever want to chat smartphones with me, you're welcome to come find me, Ms. Monovic, in the IT office to chat about cell phone brands. Functions of the operating system. They are there to manage the hardware and the software. So the hardware, think of things that could be on your phone, the speakers, the microphone, and the software that makes those things work so that you could have TikTok, your app, and that the camera and the microphone, the hardware on that device, work together. So they manage it, the operating system. Maintain security. Look after your data, making sure that your data is not stolen. They often will work with things like biometric security features. So having a fingerprint reader or a face reader scanner provides us with an interface. And we've already spoken about the fact that we mostly looking at a graphical user interface. So the interface of your operating system. In the old days, when I was a child, this is what a computer used to look like. You would have to type in code to try and find things and to try and open up programs. Nowadays, we've just got blocks, icons, graphics that we can click on, and often by double clicking, the program opens. It's a lot easier. So this is an example of command prompts. This is an example of your graphical user interface. So what is an interface? It's the way the content of the screen is arranged and presented to us to use. There are different types of interfaces that one would find on a operating system: command line, graphical user interface, menu-driven, form-based, natural language. You just need to know graphical user interface. Graphical user interface. It's the most commonly used one. The graphical user interface, or GUI, is the way that the interface is presented using icons, so little images, as well as menus and buttons, which make it easier for us to use the computer. This is our first basic screen of the computer. If we use menus, most programs that work within your GUI have the same sort of features. So if you open up Word, if you open up Excel, if you open up PowerPoint, they all kind of look the same on this kind of menu ribbon. Home, insert, layout, same sort of tabs coming up. The menu bar, a horizontal bar, typically located at the top of the screen, below the title bar, containing drop-down menus. So if I go open up my Word document, I have a look at the top. Here's my menu bar, and I click on, so there's some options. If I go to design, layout, no, let's be on the home page, and I go to font, got a whole lot of options that pop up that I can select. Go to paragraph, lots more options there. Styles gives me a whole lot of options. That's your menu bar. Windows accessories. It's a number of useful programs that come bundled with the operating system. They're installed already on there for you. They are there to provide useful add-on programs for the user. So you'll get something called Notepad. We'll use that possibly a little bit later towards the end of the year. calculator, snipping tool to take screenshots, paint systems tools including disk defragmenter and disk cleanup. So if we go have a look, our start bar, there's my calculator. I scroll down. The snipping tool has been replaced with snip and sketch. That's what they're calling it now. But if I scroll down, here's my Windows Windows accessories. My notepad, paint. Snipping tool's still there for now, but it's gonna go. Snip and sketch does the same thing. Windows Media Player, WordPad. I then also have Windows System, where I have where have they put disk defrag? Oh, here we go. Windows Administrative Tools. Yeah, I've got defragment and optimize drives, disk cleanup, and we'll look at those kind of utility tools a lot more in grade 11. Just need to know one or two examples of Windows accessories. Application software, there's different types, different categories. So you get word processor software, a program that is used to create, edit, format, and print documents. Microsoft Word is probably the most famous. We use Google Docs a lot at school. So there's something called WordPerfect. Spreadsheet software we're going to be using quite a bit this year. It's a package that is used to perform tasks based on calculations. Maybe you've used Google Sheets before, or you've worked with Excel. There's also something called Quattro Pro, Lotus 123. Presentation graphics, a package that allows you to combine text, sound, and graphics, including animation, into a presentation. And examples would include PowerPoint, Google Slides. Database program, we use this in grade 11. It's able to store data in an organized manner, manipulate the data, and process the data into information. So we'll use Access later in the year, but there's also Paradox and DBase. Communication and email software allows the user to communicate electronically, and some programs would include Outlook, Eudora, Pegasus Mail, Skype, Gmail. Web browser, a program that is used to access and view web pages on the internet. Some examples are Google Chrome, Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer is owned by Microsoft. They've replaced it with Edge, which they've now rebranded as Microsoft Edge. So those are their ones. Opera, Opera Mini, Safari, Mozilla Firefox, Netscape Navigator, lots of different types of browsers. Computer games, these games can be really impressive with features such as 3D graphics, impressive sound effects. Examples, Sims, Warcraft, Minesweeper, Minecraft, Financial applications, this type of software is used to record and report financial transactions. So if you think about your parents, they would get a invoice from the school every month saying how much money they owe for school fees or something like that. And they would be the school uses a financial application to do all that kind of thing. Some examples are ACPAC, MS Money, Quicken, Pastel. There's also desktop publishing. The software allows the user to combine text and graphics professionally to design publications such as books, magazines, and newspapers. They are using programs like Quark Express and Adobe InDesign. Graphic and design programs used to create and manipulate images on the screen. Examples, CorelDRAW, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, AutoCAD, and Paint. Web authoring software used in the design of websites, and they include MS Expression Web, MS SharePoint Designer, and Adobe Dreamweaver. Educational software includes applications that can be used in the learning of a skill, and that would include Encarta, Kami Maths, those maths tuition programs. An Office suite. They combine commonly used Office software like your processor, your spreadsheet, database, and presentation as one integrated unit. All programs are separate but have similar interfaces. Data can be easily exchanged through them. I can copy a graph from Excel and paste it into Word. They are both the same company. So the applications are created by the same company, so data can be easily exchanged between the different programs. Not all Office suites have a database component. Some only have a word processor, a spreadsheet, and your presentation. Examples include Microsoft Office 2019, Office 365, Google's G Suite, which used to be G Suite for Education but has now been rebranded Workspace for Education, and OpenOffice. Plugins. Special plugin programs are needed to allow the user to view special effects. This has become necessary as more and more multimedia is added to the web. Applications support plugins for many reasons. Some could include to enable third-party developers to create abilities which extend an application, to support easily adding new features, to reduce the size of the application, and to separate source code from an application because of incompatible software licenses. So in computing, a plugin, add-in, add-on, extension, is software component that adds a specific feature to an existing program. When a program supports plugins, it enables customization. So for example, Google Docs, you can insert an add-on called EasyBib, and it is a bibliography feature that is not designed by Google, but it will work with Google Docs. An example of one of Google Chrome's extensions, you get something like AdBlock Plus, Save to Drive, One Tab, and they're little programs that will appear over here on a website, and they do things. For me, I love AdBlock Plus. It blocks adverts on a website. One Tab is one of my favorite. It pushes everything into one tab, and then I can restore them all. And yeah, Save to Drive will save straight to Drive. So very useful. Locating, access Chrome extensions from the Chrome Web Store, access Google Doc add-ons from the add-ons menu inside Google Docs. Different types of controls found in dialog boxes. We get a text box. We get a spinner. We get a radio button. We get a command button. You get a tab in dialog. You get a combo and list box. And you get check boxes. So you might say, what? What are you talking about? So your computer, your operating system, uses these kind of features. So this would be a drop-down button. This is a tick box. This is a spinner. You change. These kind of buttons are used in all sorts of different types of programs. Command button. And these buttons tell the computer what to do. Okay, so whether it's text, spinning, radio, command, tabs, drop-downs, checkboxes, tick boxes. You might notice some of this kind of language seems familiar. If you've ever designed a Google form, you'll notice that you get a text box. That would be for short answer or paragraph answer. You get a drop-down box, a combo box, multiple choice question. These kind of things are used in all kinds of programs. So they are controls, and there's 7 different controls. And then we go into the last little bit, and the last few slides are your glossary. Okay, so I've just written down the glossary as well. But that is the end of module 1.2.